I don't know if you're about to ask me this question, but the beach is like where I go for my peace of mind, and I go to just release everything out. And I pray to God on the beach in the sand. I'm like, God, please show me a sign. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. When I looked up in the clouds, I saw a muscle flexing, and I snapped a picture of it real quick. Like, it was insane. Okay, God, I got you. I hear you. All right, here we go.
It's time for the Share Recovery Podcast, where we bring you amazing life-changing success stories from addicts and alcoholics all over the world who share their inspiring journey in recovery. And now, here's your host, O.
Hello, all my peeps in podcast land. This is O. Welcome to another episode of the Share Podcast. Hope everybody's having a fantastic week so far. And today we're going to have Amanda Nelson joining us on the Share Podcast. She's a Beachbody coach, a recovering drug addict, and she's just an all-around awesome young lady. Her mission is to inspire others so they know that they too can cross the bridge from darkness to happiness. And her goal is to every day make a stranger smile. Amanda is just a sweetheart. She's super proactive in the private accountability group, so I just love having her on board. So we're going to jump into Amanda's amazing story, but first, a little Share Podcast news. So first of all, I had an interesting conversation with Anthony. Anthony is a member of the Share Podcast private accountability group, and he's really active in there. And he hit me up and said, hey, you should do a roundup or a meetup. And I was like, okay, well, that sounds like an interesting idea. A lot of work, not something I'm really prepared to get involved with right now. However, it did give me an idea that would enable us to hook up or meet up in the near future. On May 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2016, there's the annual International AA Convention here in Costa Rica, Manuel Antonio. Again, that's the 6th, 7th, and 8th. I've been to this convention 5 times. It's spectacular. Manuel Antonio is absolutely beautiful. The weather will be spectacular that time of year. So for any of you who are interested in going, I created a link that goes directly to that page so you can register. And you can just go to www.thesharepodcast.com/CRCAA. Okay, so sharepodcast.com/CRCAA. And that'll take you right to the page. You can register for free. You don't have to put any money down for the registration. And then it'll give you all the information for purchasing your hotel and what it costs for the convention. Anyway, Anthony, great suggestion. I think at some point we may be able to look at doing a roundup or a meetup specifically for the Share Podcast group that we can do here in Costa Rica. But in the meantime, I will be at this convention May 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2016, Manuel Antonio. So for those of you who have the wherewithal to do so and the time, it'd be great to meet you in person here in Costa Rica. So again, if you want more information about the convention, go to the link, www.thesharepodcast.com/CRCAA, or just go to the website and there's a banner that you can click on that'll take you right to the registration page where you can get all the information about the convention. Okay, guys, so again, the best way to support the Share Podcast is in the private accountability group. The Share Podcast private accountability group is now at 685 people. And the best part is that I've been so busy the last couple of weeks with some work stuff that I haven't been able to be as involved in the group. And so I've seen people post in there a suggestion, a question, a concern, a problem. And when I go back in there at night to go comment on it, I see that there's like 10, 13, 15 posts already from the other members. Like, it's taken a life of its own. Guys, that's what recovery is all about. We are here to help each other. You guys out there that are posting and commenting, man, thank you so much, because it's taking the pressure off of me. So a huge factor now in supporting the Share Podcast is just being in the group. It's Facebook. It's free. Join in. Send me an email, o@thesharepodcast.com, or just go to the top of the Facebook search bar and type in SHAIR private group, and boom, it's going to pop right up. There's going to be two. There's going to be the fan page and the private accountability group. Get in on both, all right? We need the support. You guys are doing so awesome, and I just want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I mean, it's really been so awesome and so beautiful to watch. Don't forget to rate and review on iTunes. That is also the best way to support the Share Podcast. So, like I promised you on the last episode, I'm going to be reading some of the reviews that I got on iTunes. So, let's read a couple here. Oh, look at here. D Mac from Australia. This podcast is truly fantastic. Oh, a recovered addict himself is brilliant at bringing recovery to life and inspiring others to beat alcohol and addiction. The stories are real and relatable for any addict, and the best part is that this podcast is a powerful step toward removing the stigma that is associated with alcoholism. This provides a strong sense of comfort and strength for any recovering alcoholic or addict. Thank you, O. D Mac in the house. I love D. D does these great little videos that she posts on the private accountability group. She's super active in there. She's got a bubbly personality, and I love having her on the team. So, D, thank you so much for this review. Love you too. And Penny, who is also an active member of the private accountability group, left me a voicemail. She absolutely loved the Veronica Valley story. I'm going to play that voicemail right after we read a few more of these reviews. And the next one is from D Fair Bro. What an amazing and inspiring podcast. This was on February 28th. Love each and every podcast. I'm not familiar with sex addiction, and I didn't expect to actually cry. But episode 54 with Jace Downey had me in tears in some parts of her story. I wanted to find that guy and tackle him right to the floor, and I'm not even an aggressive person. Loved her strength and how she kept her head high. Not for nothing, D-Fair, but when she was telling that part of the story, I wanted to tackle the prick. Anyway, thank you for that amazing review. Jason and I both absolutely appreciate the support, man. Love you, buddy. February 23rd, Kathy M123, continuously great podcast. This is my go-to podcast on addiction. Today, O branched out to include an episode on sex addiction. I found this incredibly interesting and wish the guest speaker all the best. Another great one, O. Dude, just awesome. Look at these great feedback. Thank you, Kathy. You rock. Oh, Cormac, Ireland, February 13th. A must and funny. Delighted I found the podcast. Really helps with my recovery, and it's funny too. Cormac is another huge private accountability fan and contributor. He's in there all the time, posting, giving support, sending love. Cormac, much love to you, my brother. Thank you, man. From Ireland. I love it. And then just one more, because this one was for my good friend Brian Nino. On January 30th, Desroda, BD Nino episode. Wow, that was great. Thank you for this episode. His story is so easy to relate to, an inspiring journey of recovery. But most of all, I was touched by his expression of love for his wife and the obvious pain he caused her. A story that we all can identify with. Keep up the great work. I started tearing up just as I was reading this. Man, I got to tell you guys, there is nothing more infectious, nothing more passionate than what we go through in recovery, the ups and downs, the roller coaster ride. But when we finally make it through the shitstorm that is addiction and find our way to recovery, this expression of love and gratitude is overwhelming at times. Especially when I'm doing an interview once or twice a week, and I get to connect with people right there in that moment, at that time. It's wild, man. It's wild. So again, guys, thank you so much for all the support. Rate and review on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Post a review on there. It's the best way for people like us to find each other and carry the message of hope to all the sick and suffering addicts out there. So now let me play that recording from Penny about Veronica Valley's story.
Hi, O. It's Penny from Sydney. Just ringing to say thank you so much for Veronica's amazing podcast story. It was sensational. Oh my God, it could so be my story. I have had to listen to her twice. She is so inspirational and such an amazing woman, and I am so grateful to you and to Veronica for sharing this. And I just wanted to say thank you. So that's pretty much it. I hope you're keeping well, and I hope everyone is traveling well, and take care. God bless, and thank you so, so much. I got so much out of Veronica's podcast. Take care. Bye.
Penny, you're absolutely the best. I love you so much. You're such a power of inspiration to so many. I look forward to interviewing you and getting your story. I love it. And of course, a big shout out and lots of love to the donations we got so far in March from Deborah, Brian, Marla, and Lewis. Thanks again for your generous donations and helping support the Share Podcast. And guys, if you would like to donate to the Share Podcast, go to the website, www.thesharepodcast.com. Click on the donate button and make your donation via PayPal. Also, if you're going to buy something on Amazon anyway, click on the Amazon banner that I have on the website, and when you purchase something on Amazon, it will kick back a little commission to the Share Podcast. It's not going to cost you a penny more, and you're helping support the show. So now, quick message from our sponsor, and then it's time for Amanda's story. Sober Nation is the largest online recovery community and treatment resource center. They provide treatment resources to those struggling with addiction, as well as to the family members who are caught in the crossfire. On top of that, Sober Nation is a huge community of good people who share their experience with each other. They have informative content, recovery and addiction news, as well as an entire clothing line which helps expand the culture of recovery. They can easily be found at www.sobernation.com. Sober Nation is putting recovery on the map. And finally, would you like to receive the most popular AA daily devotions free in one distribution? Transitions Daily delivers daily devotions from the 24 hours a day, AA Thought for the Day, Daily Reflections, Big Book Quote, Just for Today, As Bill Sees It, plus more. You can get our distribution daily via email, private Facebook group, or Twitter. Go to dailyaaemails.com for more information. And don't forget to share dailyaaemails.com with friends in meetings and with sponsees in recovery. Now back to the show. Hey, Amanda, thanks for joining us.
What's up, O?
Oh, you know, just living the dream in Costa Rica.
I'm living the dream in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, I love it. I love it. How you feeling today?
I feel fabulous. Today is a great day.
It certainly is. All right, let's get started. All right, so folks, today we have Amanda Nelson joining us on the Share Podcast. So let's just dive right in. Amanda, tell us about how your life is today, your hobbies. I know you got a lot of exercise. Take us into your normal daily routine, including recovery.
All right, well, some of my hobbies. Recently, I'm into obstacle course racing, and I'm a beach body coach. So fitness, me and workouts are like, we're dating, man, you know? So that's my boyfriend right now, me and my workouts.
Beautiful.
So I get up in the mornings, and actually January 1st was like a really big day for me. It's like the new year just brought on a whole different mindset. So now I don't even get out of bed unless I do my personal development. In Beachbody, we have to do that anyway. So I've dived into the Bible for the first time in my life. And so I read in the Bible. I do my personal development. Sometimes it's for an hour, sometimes it's for 2 hours, just depending on how I feel. And then I start my day. Then I feel like I can be who I need to be for the world. I mean, I go ride bikes in Tampa on the Riverwalk. I just do all kind of different things. So I don't have anything set after that. Workout and ride bikes pretty much, and talk to homeless people. And, you know, my motto is make a stranger smile. So my goal every day is to see how many strangers I can make smile.
Oh, man, that's beautiful. I have you on Facebook, so I have an opportunity to see your videos, to see your pictures. There's a tremendous amount of exercise that goes on. So I've seen it firsthand, your unbelievable amount of exercise routines you have going on. So I applaud you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I put in a lot of hard work because that's what keeps me sober. Fitness is a must for me.
Absolutely.
So.
That's how life is. And you were just talking about how recently you've dove into the Bible. So tell us a little bit about how you maintain your spiritual condition, that conscious contact with your higher power.
Well, see, I grew up, my dad was a minister in music, so it's quite odd for me that I'm just now diving into the Bible. But I'm like, I started with Proverbs. And when I first started reading it, like a lot of it don't make sense to me. But now that I'm reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. It makes total sense now. But I post on my Facebook a Bible verse every day, and I try to stick with that same Bible verse throughout the day. I try to apply it throughout my day. And me and my daughter just started reading the Bible, like a Bible verse together, baby steps, because I don't know enough to teach her what it all means, but I'm learning too, and I want her to learn. And man, ever since I did that, my heart's just been filled with so much joy. So I pray all day, every day. Some of y'all were talking about like praying in the shower and stuff and in the bathtub, and I do that too. And I actually broke down the other day because I remembered about something and I just completely broke down, but it was the best breakdown ever. Like, it was crazy.
Those happen all the time. And those are beautiful moments in our recovery, in our lives, when, you can tap into something that probably provoked or produced a lot of fear and anxiety in our lives. And we were able to just cathartically let it go through our tears.
That was a very powerful moment for me. Like I said, this whole thing's, the way I'm living my life today is a completely new experience for me. And I'm loving every second of it.
So tell us, Amanda, how much clean time do you have, and when is your anniversary date?
Okay, so I'm going to say completely 100% with everything is August 10th, 2015. I quit drinking. I quit smoking cigarettes. I laid everything down that day.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I love it. That's great. Good for you. Quitting those cigarettes is tough. God, people they hold on to cigarettes like they hold on to McDonald's.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll let McDonald's go too. Like, I just completely did a 360. So
I don't know what's worse, cigarettes or McDonald's.
Exactly.
It's so
exactly. Since I started working out and eating good, it's been a few months back, but I ran through their drive-thru to get a grilled chicken wrap, and I took one bite and I threw that crap away. I was like, no, sir.
No, good for you. Good for you.
So nasty.
It's funny, the more that I get into juicing and into understanding how, the digestive system works and the enzymes and the bacteria in the body, and how these things, how the allergies that we have, how the different symptoms that we have for different things like ADD and OCD and these different rashes and our inability to focus and concentrate and anger and anxiety all stem from, this horrific diet, this bad food that we put into our systems. And, as you start to embark on a life of cleanliness, when you start living a life that's clean, and you start to discover that, not just putting drugs and alcohol in your body was bad, but there's plenty of food in there that are killing people. You know what I mean? So it's just really cool. I mean, I love seeing your videos. I love the pictures out there. You are one of the ones that I see out there constantly on the journey for living well as far as diet and exercise goes. And there's been quite a few people that I've interviewed that are doing the exact same thing. So you guys have all motivated me to, follow suit. So thank you.
Awesome. Yay, that's such great news. I love it when people are on board for health and fitness. And it's not just about losing weight or whatever. I actually gained 20 pounds and I've maintained 20 pounds. So I don't have a weight loss journey. It's not about that to me. It's about living life healthy and feeling good. And the recovery center that I'm volunteering at, they do permaculture there. And I'm learning all about this garden. They have the most amazing garden I have ever seen in my life. And they use all these fresh veggies and it's all organic, and they cook with them for the residents, and they got chickens. Like, it's the coolest thing. And I'm learning so much from there. Like, and it's a mile down the road from my house, so it's amazing.
Wow. Another God shot there. right down the
Yes.
street. That's beautiful. All right. So, Amanda, let's jump into your story because, your life today is so fascinating and exciting that we could do this for a couple hours. But we want to hear about your story. So start us off. Let's warm you up a little bit. Tell us about how old you were the first time you drank or used drugs, and more importantly, how did they make you feel?
Okay, I'll never forget this day because I was in ninth grade. I was 15 years old, and I was going to prom for the first time, and I had gotten asked by a junior, and I drank Jack Daniels and Coke, and like when I took that first sip, it was like somebody giving me the biggest bear hug I've ever received in my life. I felt loved. I was like, oh my God, I love you back. So that's how it started.
That's a beautiful way to put it. I can totally get it. I totally get it. Oh my God. Oh man, that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. I'm turning this show over to you, Amanda. It's time for you to share your story, the battle against drugs and alcohol, the wreckage it caused in your life, when you hit rock bottom, and then finally your journey into recovery up until today. So, Amanda, take it away.
All right, brother. Well, like I said, my dad was a minister of music at a Southern Baptist church. So my parents split up when I was around 4. I think I lived with my mom at my dad's back and forth every other weekend. Always had church shoved down my throat, and I hated it. Like, I just hated going. And me and my mom argued a lot when I was I think I was 15 or 16. She kicked me out, and I went to live with my dad. I was like, hallelujah. That's when I started battling my addiction, and I just felt like my mom, just every little thing I did, it was just like, yeah, you've done this and you did that. And I didn't feel like I was ever good enough. So whenever she kicked me out, I just went buck wild crazy, just crazy. So my senior year in high school, I'm skipping school all the time. I did go to 2 classes I loved, AP Calculus and Physics, every morning. I made sure I made those classes, but then after that, I pretty much left. I got arrested for the first time my senior year. My parents were out of town, and I decided to throw a little party. Well, it didn't really turn out to be a little party. It turned out to be a pretty big one.
I'm picturing it.
The neighbors called the cops. Well, the crazy thing was I had left, and then for whatever reason, I left all these people at my dad's house. Like, I just left. And I don't remember if we forgot something or what. We pull back in, and the cops pull in right behind us. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? So luckily, this was just a warning, because had it not been, I would have had about 5 charges on me that night, because I lied to the cops. I'm drinking underage. Like, I had weed on me in my bra. Like, I mean, just so much stuff.
Wow.
Well, they still put me in cuffs and took me down to the jail cell just to scare me, because all the cops knew my dad and everything. And smart me thought I could get out of the cuffs. So I'm sitting here in this room at the jail, like, trying my best to get out of these stupid things. It didn't work. I had bruises on my wrist for 2 weeks.
Oh, man.
It hurt so bad.
You probably got these really thin little wrists. So in your mind, you're like, I can get out of this.
Exactly. Well, it didn't work, So my parents came home early from Tennessee. Oh my God, that was the worst experience ever. My dad was so mad. I was grounded for life. Well, that was the first time I had to run in with the cops. I'm like partying. I'm just, normal addiction stuff. I'm the girl that's throwing up everywhere because I just don't care. I'm, just the ignorant one of all the time. The one that's got to be carried to the car. Amanda's sick again. Just overdoing it all the time. Just pure ignorance. So it was probably about a month before I graduated, and I was hanging out with this crowd. We smoked weed all the time. Like, homeboy was on ADD medicine. Oh, shoot. I can't even think of it right now.
Ritalin?
No, it wasn't Ritalin. It was
Adderall?
Dexedrine or something like that. Dexedrine.
Yeah, Dexedrine. That sounds about right.
I mean, it's basically like Adderall and stuff. So I was taking that. And then also I'd started ecstasy and did some acid, I mean, you name it. I was doing it my senior year. I just didn't care. I'd lost 20 pounds in 1 month. Now, I'm not that big to begin with. I'm a pretty short little girl. And my dad, he was like, you're going to have to start eating supper. I'm like freaking speeding my butt off. Like, I'm not eating. I'm freaking feeling good, man. I was going high to church. Like, I'd smoke a blunt and go to church. I mean, that's how bad it was.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm like spraying perfume. Please, God, I'm sorry, but, I feel like I got to be high to go to church.
I wish I would have been getting high when I went to church. God, it was a horrible experience.
Yes, I know somebody there had been able to tell. I mean, there's just no way that nobody could tell. Well, probably about a month before I graduated high school, I got arrested again for shoplifting at Walmart.
Oh, man.
So
nothing like having a shoplifting arrest from Walmart on your record. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I got banned for a year. Couldn't go to that one for a whole year.
You're killing me.
That's when they had cigarettes there where you could grab them yourself. I mean, me and my girls, we all went in there. We'd pile up the stuff. But the one time I go in there by myself, I got some cigarettes and some makeup, and those security guys met me outside. I'm like, oh, dang. So the funny part is they take me in the office to wait for the cops to get there. Well, the Coca-Cola man was at Walmart delivering Cokes, and that man went to my church, and I was like, oh my God, holy crap. I'm sitting here in the office, and this man, he's like, hey, man, what you up to? I'm like, oh, nothing much, just hanging out, brother, just hanging out. Luckily, he didn't say, luckily, I don't even know how this happened. I can't remember if he left or cops came, and I got escorted out of there by 2 cops, but nothing was ever said. My dad never even knew about it. I was like, whew. But they post-arrested me because the jail cells were full. So all the graduation money that I got, I had to go pay for my fines. So I didn't even get to enjoy my graduation money because I was trying so hard for my parents not to know, And I was already 18 at this point. And the counselor, whenever I had to go check in, he's like, I know your dad, and your dad's a good man, and you need to tell him. I'm like, I ain't telling my dad nothing right now. I'm just going to pay my fines and we're going to get this done. So I did, and my dad's like, all right, he's threatening rehab at this point, and I'm barely skinning by at school. He had to go up and talk to the principal to get them to let me graduate. And I was a straight A student, but I just didn't care. Like, I'm a smart girl, I just didn't care. So Dad's like, you either need to go to Mississippi State. I was planning on going up there with some friends, or go to rehab. Well, I didn't do neither one. I moved down to Florida. It's like, peace out, Mississippi. So I had done some ecstasy down in Florida. I really wanted to go to Florida State. So that was my dream. And I met my daughter's sperm donor. And then I got pregnant after like 3 or 4 months of dating him.
God.
And yeah, I'm 19 years old. At least I made it out of high school. That's what I was thinking.
Do you even know where he's at?
Well, I heard that he's down here around where I live, but he hasn't been in the picture since she was 6 months old. So we leave that alone.
Okay. Yeah. We'll leave that alone.
When we first started dating, he broke up with me and he moved up to Tallahassee because he knew I wanted to go to Florida State. So he went up and moved up there, and I did too. And dumb me, one night I got drunk and he's like, I'm sorry, baby, blah, blah, blah. And we got back together, and then I got pregnant, and I was like, Dang. I really wanted to go to Florida State. So whenever the pregnancy test became positive, I threw it at him. I was like, I hope you're effing happy. Because I had to stop drinking, and I was really pissed I had to stop drinking, you know? So,
Wow.
yeah.
I get it.
I wasn't happy about it. I mean, I was mad. But me and my mom still aren't close, you know. She's like, you need to get an abortion or give it up for adoption. I'm like, no, I did this. I'm going to take full responsibility. So we end up getting married. I'm 19 years old. I'm pregnant. I'm pissed off. But we got talked into getting married because my dad was, you know, in the church. And so it was his family. And it was just the right thing to do. And he was so mentally abusive and emotionally abusive. He never laid a hand on me, but after the baby was born, you know, I couldn't talk to my dad. I couldn't talk to any of my friends. I was like, screw this. So when she was 6 months old, while he was at work one day, I packed up the car and I started to head back to Mississippi. And I'd be dead gum if I didn't forget my makeup bag. I was like, I gotta go get my makeup bag. Why do I need my makeup bag? Like, that was just stupid, you know? I risked him seeing me to go get a makeup bag. I don't know, but I just remember that for some reason. And so I head back to Mississippi, and I'm 20 with a brand new baby, alone. He saw her one time. Actually, I got a really good job. My granny got me a job at the bank. I didn't want to work at the bank. I didn't want to do nothing but drink. But actually, I was really, really good at the bank. Like, I advanced pretty fast, and me and my daughter, you know, we're making it. And her sperm donor saw her one time after we moved, and he told me that because you left me, your punishment is I'm not going to see her anymore. I was like, dude, really? Like, really? Well, he was right. And I begged and begged and begged him to just be a part of her life. And he said no, he wasn't having no part of it. So it took me a good couple years to finally let it sink in. And that just destroyed me because, first off, I had told my dad whenever I left, I'm not getting married and I'm not having kids. And I'd be dadgum if I did both. And now I got this baby by myself. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe he'll change his mind later on. I'm just going to let him be. No. Mm-mm. She's 14 now, and he still has only seen her once.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it's been a long, hard road with that. But that had a lot to do with me getting in my addiction. Like, I had that good job at the bank, and I remember some mornings I'd come in there still smelling like alcohol. I'd been at the bars and, you know, just normal partying then. I didn't think anything was wrong at that point. Well, when I lived down in Florida before, me and this guy kept in touch. Well, he's like, move back down to Florida with me. I'm like, sweet. There's my meal ticket back down to Florida because I hate Mississippi. So I did. I moved in with him. I think my kiddo was about 3. Well, I was working at the bank down there, and that's when I got a job, an amazing job, amazing opportunity at a mortgage company, and I did so well. And me and my old boss are still amazing friends to this day, and he still lives down here. But me and the guy, we ended up breaking up. I stayed down here for a while. I had everything in my hands. Like, I was so young, though, I didn't even know. You know, I was making good money and just living the dream, but I was still partying all the time. I couldn't let it go. I just thought, you know, I did cocaine here and there and smoking weed. Man, I was a pothead by this point, too. Like, smoking bud. If I drank, I had to smoke because that's what kept me from having a hangover. So
I remember all the tricks.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody does.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I got heartbroken. I'd let that other guy, like, you know, he got mad at me for leaving his truck. I had gone out with some girlfriends, and I left his brand new truck at the bar because I was too drunk to drive home. And he gave me a black eye over it. I said, bye, Felicia. I'm leaving you. There. I was like, would you rather me wreck your truck or, like, anyways, apparently I made the wrong choice. So I left that boy, and then I found this other boy, and he broke my heart too. And I was like, dadgum, now I'm going to move back to Mississippi. So I stayed in Florida for 3 years. Back in '07, I moved back to Mississippi because I thought that if I was allowed my daughter to be around family, like that would make her happy, and then I would be happy. Boy, was I wrong. I hated the thought of it, just moving back to Mississippi, but I got scared here, and I was so young, and I made a bad decision, but it's okay. I'm okay with it today. But so when I moved back to Mississippi, the drinking got worse. The partying got worse. I was in a depression because I hated being there. I hated every part of it. I hated the slow life. I hated because I took a huge pay cut. I hated it, you know. So I worked at a bank. I got another job at the bank. I'd gotten like 3 promotions in 6 months. Like, I was really, really good at my job. I knew what I was doing. I had a lot of great training in Florida, and just the depression and the drinking and everything started happening in 2010. I'd maintained or hit it that I had a problem pretty well for about 3 years. And then in 2010, me and my daughter went down to Daytona. That's where her dad's mother lives, and she's still in the picture, and they still have a relationship, just not my daughter and her dad. But her Nana's still very active. So I met some people down there, and I mean, me and this guy had been just friends for like years, like 5 or 6 years. Like, he was one of my really, really good friends. Well, we're drinking and joking around in the hot tub, and I don't know if this was said or if I heard it, or we were so wasted. The words rape and I'll do whatever it takes. That's all I remember. Well, he said this one night. The next day, like, I totally just dismissed it. But the next day we woke up, went drinking all day at the beach. And for whatever reason, I started bringing up the previous night about what he said, and I completely blacked out. And apparently I tried to whoop his butt because I woke up to an ammonia stick with the ambulance over me. And I was like, what's going on? I lean up, I'm drenched in blood. Homeboy knocked me smooth out onto the pavement.
Oh.
Yes. Like, he's huge. Like, I'm 5'3" and 3/4.
Yeah.
That, you know, he's like, I don't know, 6'1" or 2" maybe. He's a big old boy, you know?
Jesus.
And I started beating him up, and instead of him walking away, he just knocked me smooth out. Like, I thought I broke my nose, and oh God, it was horrible. So the police were there and everything. And in the state of Florida, even though I wasn't a resident, if the child is anywhere near that, child services comes out. So the next day, I'm at my ex-mother-in-law's house, okay? And child services knocks on the door. My nose is all swole up, like, it's a bad situation. So they come to add more to it. They're like, we have to investigate domestic issues and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I don't even live here. Well, don't worry. We're going to have a caseworker check on you in Mississippi. Like, I was scared out of my mind because
wow,
I didn't want to lose my kid, you know, over something dumb.
Right?
Wow. Like, I couldn't even hardly drive home because I was in so much pain. I ended up going to the hospital to get my nose checked out. Everything was fine. And to this day, me and him, we've made amends and everything's good. Actually, I just received a message from him yesterday. He's in a good place. You know, we squashed it. We were both in a bad place. But it's all good now. I'm happy for him now. He's doing good. So,
that's a miracle.
Yeah. So I get back to Mississippi after this incident, and about, I can't remember exactly, 3, 4, 5 weeks, somewhere around there. It wasn't very long after this. I get a sharp pain, and it's kind of like, you know how you get gas pains up under your ribs? Like, I seriously thought that that's what it was, but it wouldn't go away. So I was supposed to go to a wedding to meet my brother or something, and I went to get in my car, and I just felt like I was about to pass out. So I went to the emergency room, and doctor comes in, and he's like, well, Merry Christmas, you're pregnant. I was like, what?
Oh, my God.
Okay. But it wasn't by this guy in Florida. It was by this guy I was seeing in Mississippi. I was pretty bad. So... Well, then he's like, okay, we don't see a heartbeat, so now we got to do more tests. Well, they did more tests. They figured out that it was in my tubes. So my tube had ruptured. I had internal bleeding. And next thing I know, they're sending me back to emergency surgery because they got to stop all the bleeding.
Yeah.
So this happened like shortly after that instance in Daytona. And luckily, you know, the doctor said if I'd come an hour later that I would have died. And I got super depressed. Like, I got beat up by a dude. I'm having to go in every week for checkups to this doctor, and I'm seeing all these pregnant women, and it just really depressed me. So they threw me on antidepressants, and I got okay. Well, 4 months later, I had another miscarriage. I'm like, oh my God. But it didn't pass by itself, so I had to have another surgery. And I'm like, oh my. So the drinking just got worse. On top of this antidepressant medication, like just, I mean, I was bad off, you know. I really wanted to die. I dismissed that feller and got in a relationship with this dude that's like 10 years younger than me. And I'd heard he had a temper. But the first 3 or 4 months were amazing. And then I let him move in with me, and all hell broke loose. Mm-hmm. So the first time he laid a hand on me, he pushed me outside, and I hit my head on the grill. And I got up, like, all bowed up. Now, all this time, like, I was a fighter. If I got to the point where you piss me off when I'm drunk, I'd just be like, Pop, shut up, you know, like, I'd hit you right upside the mouth, you know. Just, I was a little firecracker.
Yep.
Like one time in high school, it took 3 big old boys to hold me off of this one girl because I was shooting tequila, and tequila makes me want to fight. And it took 3 dudes to hold me off of this girl. I mean, I could be happy, but if something pissed me off, I could turn mean so quick. So whenever he pushed me and I hit my head, I bowed up, and I was like, I know that was an accident. I dismissed it, and it kept happening. And we would get into knockdown dragouts, and the cops were at my house all the time. They never caught him, though, because he'd always drive off drunk, you know. I'm like, y'all letting a little 19-year-old boy run the streets, you know. He's drunk, and he hid really well. He was a race car driver, dirt track driver, so he knows how to drive, you know?
Yeah, obviously. Jesus.
So, just so many times he whooped my butt. I'd go to my neighbor's house, like, crying. Amanda, why don't you just kick him out? I'm like, I love him. You know, just so stupid.
Sick.
But, yeah, so sick. Like, why do I want somebody like that? That's just, it makes me want to throw up now. So Memorial Day weekend, him and we always drank. That was the problem. If we weren't drinking, we were cool, but we had to drink and take Lortabs and everything else, you know, and smoke weed, and let's just get completely messed up so that we can beat each other's butts better, you know? So Memorial Day, we had been drinking all day at the river, all day long. And I don't even remember what we were fighting about. It doesn't even really matter. But we were at my house, and we went at it again. One of them times, I had a can of mace, and I sprayed him, and then he sprayed me back with it. Man, that stuff hurts, so let me tell you what. But if you ever get sprayed with mace, what the cops told me to do, you pour Coke like a canned Coke on a rag and like hold it on your eyes in case anybody ever gets sprayed with mace. That's what you do. That's the trick.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda, for those pearls of wisdom.
Hey, I try to pass along those little tips, you know. So,
here at the Share Podcast, you heard it first.
you never know, bro.
You're killing me. Okay, so Coca-Cola with a rag.
Yep, you got it.
All right. Well, Coca-Cola pretty much cleans everything.
Exactly. And it'll help you get a tan, too.
Oh, my God. I love it. I love it.
So, like I said, we got into knockdown drag out again. Well, at the time, my brother lived 2 blocks from me. So I'm like, I'm completely wasted. I'm not going to risk driving my car. So I'm going to walk. I packed my beer. I mean, I took all the beer, too. I was like, you're not drinking my beer. I'm taking it. You know? So I packed the bag, and there was 2 ways you can walk to my brother's house. And of course, I choose the main path. And let's don't go the back streets because I wasn't even thinking cops were going to be out. Well, the cops are sitting right there at the store. Like, my brother's house is like right there. I can see it, you know. They're like, what's up, man? What you doing? I was like, I'm just trying to go right there. You look like you're wobbling some. And then they saw the marks on my face. Like, I had a busted lip and stuff. And, well, let's top in the car and let's go check this out. I said, no, I'm just going to walk on to my brother's house, but I appreciate the offer. You know? So.
Oblivious.
He's like, no, ma'am, you're going to get in the car. And he put me in handcuffs because I was getting a little feisty, you know, and we go back to my house, which is just right around the corner. I'm like, bro, if you would just let me walk to my brother's house, it would have been all okay, you know? So homeboy walks out of my house that he's living in, and he has marks on him too. And now they're like, what's going on? And blah, blah, blah. And they're taking me to jail because I'm drunk and he's got marks on it. I'm like, oh no, he is not staying in my effing house. And no. Just, I'm popping off at the mouth. And he's like, ma'am, you want another charge? I'm like, I don't care. Give me all the charges. I don't care. You know?
Oh, man.
Well, we both ended up going to jail because he started popping off too. We were fighting. The cop was in the middle and me and him were arguing, you know? So he was like, well, y'all both go to jail. We'll just solve that. I'm like, no, man. No.
Problem solved.
I'm sorry, cop. I'm sorry I just cussed you out. Yeah, I went to jail Memorial Day weekend, and that sucked because I worked at the bank still, and I had to call my dad from jail, and I'm like, can you call my boss? Tell her I'm in jail and I won't be at work. And I couldn't bond out on Monday because courts were closed. So Tuesday, and he didn't know her cell phone number, so he had to wait till the bank opened, and I'm already late for work, you know. So I finally found a bondsman that'll let me, like, take me to my house and let me get my ATM card and go to the bank. The bondsman actually took me to the bank so I could withdraw some money, and so that part was cool about it. But we got on a no contact order, and of course I didn't stick with it because I loved him.
Yes, absolutely.
Dude, I remember going to some of his races, and I would sneak him to my house. He would ride in my trunk because there was always roadblocks, like at night, you know, because the races got out late, and there was always roadblocks in my house. He's like, I'm not risking it. I'm going to ride in your trunk. I'm like, bro. Okay, whatever works. So we did that for a little while, and finally, like, we had to take anger management classes, and we started arguing again, and I started drinking real bad. Like, we both still drank, and I was like, I want to do my classes without him. And I finally had to let him go because he was destroying me. He busted out my daughter's window. Of all the windows in my house, he busted out her window, and he threatened to kill her dog, and it was just bad. And the night that he busted out the window, I had been drinking so bad. Well, I took a piece of that glass and started cutting up my arm. For whatever reason, I called this guy and he called the cops. And actually the one that arrested me when I was in high school, he showed up. And I was like, oh God, what are you doing here? He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I hate life, man. Just go on and leave me alone, you know? Like, I just remembered this. He's the one that transported me to jail when I got arrested for domestic violence. I was like, you again? Like, could you just get out of my life, you know? Like, you were there when I got arrested in high school. Now you arrested me, or you transported me for domestic violence. And now he's there again when I'm cutting my arm up. And he calls my dad, of course. And, you know, well, I decided that I was going to move back to Florida. Like, screw Mississippi. It's time for me to move. Well, I was going to stay with my daughter's Nana in Daytona. And we went there for a couple weeks, and I had to like get all my furniture out of the house and stuff and put it in storage. And when I went back there to do that, my mom shows up, which is crazy because me and her don't have a good relationship, and I should have known something was up then. And then 2 cops come knocking on the door and put me in cuffs. I'm like, what the hell did I do now? Like, I haven't even done anything. I'm just trying to pack my stuff. They took me to a holding cell for rehab. Oh. And I was in the holding cell for over 30 days waiting on a bed. So I was basically in jail for 30 days waiting on a bed to go to rehab. And they were pumping me full of Ativans, and just all I did was sleep and eat. And then I finally get to rehab. I was so mad. Like, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want no part of it. By probably week 2, I tried to get the most out of it I could, but I just didn't want to be there, you know? And my counselor, little old short lady, she never went down to talk to any parents. But the day my dad came to get me, I was in there for 30 days. So I was gone for 2 months. That was the first time I've been away from my daughter that long. She came down and met my dad, and she said something that now today I'm connecting the dots backwards. And she was like, this girl right here is a leader. She's a born leader. She's something special. She's got something special in her. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. Get me out of here. You know, like, I just didn't want to hear it.
Right.
But now looking back, I do believe that that woman saw something in me at that time I couldn't see in myself, and I wasn't ready to see it. But I really need to call her and thank her, actually. I need to look her up. So I got out of rehab, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to be sober for everybody else, blah, blah, blah. So I was sober for a few months. I really did try. And then I was like, well, 1 beer is not going to hurt me, and couple beers here aren't going to hurt me. Well, before I knew it, here we are back in the same cycle, drinking every day, at least a 6-pack, if not more. Sometimes I get done with the 6-pack and go back and get another one at the store. And I could put on some beer for a little old girl. I could outdrink most of the boys. So that went on, and then I started, like a lot of people, getting the Adderalls and all this other stuff so I could drink more because I thought that was cool, you know. And eventually I went on a coke spree. Like, I just got coked up all the time. And then one day I couldn't find any Adderall, but this girl was like, well, have you ever tried ice? I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. She's like, well, it's just like Adderall, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. I really wanted some, you know, so I tried it.
No.
Yeah. In 2014, I got arrested for embezzlement.
Embezzlement?
Yep.
Were you stealing in the office?
Yep. I took checks because I thought that they weren't going to catch me. You know?
Yep.
I stole checks, and I forged his name. I stole 5 of them, not 1, 5. How stupid is that? You know, like, especially with technology these days and all that. I'm like, golly, what were you thinking about? I was so bad at my addiction, I needed money to fuel it, you know?
Yes.
So he kept dropping hints, And one day I was outside smoking a cigarette on my break, and I kept seeing the cop car riding up and down. I just got this eerie feeling. So I went back to my desk, and here comes 4 cops in this little old town. Now, my dad has 2 businesses in this small town. It's really, really small. And 4 of the cops that I know, here they come, arrest me. I'm like, oh my God. Really? Do we have to do it like this, guys? Like, I will walk out. No, they cuffed me and everything. And I told myself at the time, I was like, I really thought that the boss was just going to sit down and have a little talk with me, you know? Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, right.
It's so stupid.
Don't do this again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my
Don't
God.
steal, close to $5,000 ever again.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was a felony, bro. Like, I went to jail, and luckily my mom bonded me out. She didn't really know what the money was for, and I kind of didn't have time to tell her until after the fact. Then she started fussing at me, and I'm like, look, I just don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So now I've got my first felony over my head, and I'm just, oh my God, now I lost my job. So what does one do in that situation? Well, we just go get more ice and, just live it up.
Oh, yeah.
I got in with some just freaking absolute lowest of the low people. And I don't mean that in any certain way, but just the people that just have no drive. All they want to do is live in their addiction, and they just don't care what's surrounding them. That's where I was. And I finally got another job, and I stayed up on the weekends for like 3 or 4 days straight. Monday comes around, and I freaking pass smooth out, and I miss work. So I end up getting fired again. And I'm like, what in the world? I was a branch manager at a huge mortgage company in Florida at one time. Like, what's going on? Well, I got fired from that job. I totaled my car. My dog died. And shortly after that, I got evicted from my house. So it's like a daggum country song, It
is.
But,
totally like a country song.
Yeah. Yeah, a real
You
sad
poor
one
thing.
too.
Yeah, it is.
And that all
actually.
happened like a matter of a month or two. Just bam, 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 bam. And I'm like, what is this? I lost everything that I had worked for. Everything. So I moved in with my buddy. I'm going to the casino with all these meth heads. And that's where I met the guy that when I looked into his eyes, I saw demons. The craziest stuff was happening to me. And now I've done a lot of research. And what I've come to learn is that those who are super spiritual see the worst stuff when you're on meth. And I saw some pretty crazy stuff that really scared me. And everybody thought I was crazy. And I'm like, I felt so alone, because none of these other people were experiencing the things I was, and I couldn't understand it then. Well, Mother's Day of 2015 rolled around, and my dad brought my daughter over to my buddy's house, and I wanted to eat a bullet.
Yeah.
I just lost everything, and I just didn't feel like I had anything to live for. Me and her were supposed to spend that day together, and I was just in a mood, and I was not feeling it. And she came in there and yelled at me, and she ended up leaving and not wanting to spend time with me. And that just completely rocked my core. Like, I could not believe. Oh, wait, I forgot to tell you. After I got arrested for embezzlement, me and her started arguing a lot. So she went to live with my dad. It was going to be for a couple weeks. She was going to stay there. But she ended up staying for 8 or 9 months. And I'd raised this kid by myself. I sacrificed everything I ever knew for this kid. And now she don't want to live with me because I'm just a piece of crap mom. And whenever she didn't want to spend time with me on Mother's Day, I was like, oh my God. I was so mad. I just drove down to the casino and spent all my money that I didn't have. what are you doing, stupid? So it was one of my homeboys that I used to get some ice from. Right, it was a couple of days after that happened. He looked me in my eyes. Now, I'm going to a dealer. What dealer tells you this? He's like, you have greatness in you. I'm like, what? I'm listening to him, but I'm looking at his lifestyle and I'm like, why are you talking to me like this? And I thank him to this day. Him and I still keep in contact, and I'm trying to save his soul, but he's not ready. But he looked me in my eyes. He was like, you are such a beautiful person. You deserve so much better than what you wake up and put yourself through every day. Go chase your dreams, girl. I left the next day. I packed up my car. I had a food stamp card, and I talked my dad we traded. He gave me cash, and I gave him the food stamp card. I left my daughter there. In fact, all my stuff is still in storage back there. I packed up my car with $200 in my pocket. Everything I could fit in my car I brought, and I drove. Like, I broke down to God on the way. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I don't even know why I'm driving this way. I don't know what's about to happen, but I know I can't live my life like this anymore. Something's got to give. It was life or death for me because I wanted to die. And I came back down to St. Pete area where I've lived before, and I think I messaged one of my old coworkers, and I was like, hey, bro, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. I'm coming back to Florida. And I kind of told him a little bit. Obviously, he didn't know how bad off I was. And he allowed me to live on his boat for a little bit. And then I got a job at a mortgage company. And I'm like, sweet, things are finally looking up. And then my daughter came down, and I just was like, wow, okay, I can do this. I can do this. Well, a couple of times after I'd gotten down here, I drank, I quit the meth. I haven't touched any hardcore drugs since May of 2015. But I still came down here for the first couple of times, and I drank. Well, like I told you earlier, I started with liquor and I ended with liquor. Everything in the middle was beer. I was a beer girl. I just love my beer. And I didn't even set out to get sober. Like, that's the crazy thing. I had gone to a friend's birthday party. We were drinking. No, I take that back. I did do coke one time. I just remembered it was this night. We were drinking, and I black out again. I'm drinking vodka. I'm like, I don't ever drink vodka. I don't know why I chose to drink it this night. I always get a beer every single time. I stay away from liquor because I know how bad off I get. I drank liquor this night, and I blacked out, and somehow I had ended up, he lives over in Clearwater, and I'm over living in St. Pete. Somehow I had ended up in St. Pete, in downtown St. Pete. I'm sitting on the freaking side of the road. I don't know how I got there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know where my car is. I'm so confused. I just start crying like, I don't even know what street I'm on. I was seriously scared for the first time in a long time. And I found a cab, and I got home. I had ended up taking an Uber cab with some dude that was at his party, not even to try to hook up with him or anything, but just, I don't even know why, because I blacked out. But homeboy left me, and I was just stuck by myself. And I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, I am done with this life. I'm done with it. I can't take this anymore. I came down here to get a better life for myself and my daughter, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's the last time I drank. And I found Beachbody, and Beachbody and God is what saved me. I pour all my energy into working out. And like I said, I had gotten that job at the mortgage company. I started making my little, you see my videos at the end. My motto is make a stranger smile, because I'm on a mission to make this world a better place. And when I was working at this mortgage company, I always got in trouble for trying to talk to the customers and make them smile. And I'm like, I can't do it anymore. So I quit. just quit. I'm like, I don't have a plan. I don't know what's about to happen, but I know I can't do it here. So I quit the mortgage company and went full-time Beachbody, and it's scary. And I didn't have a source of income coming in, and I took another leap of faith, but it's all okay. Actually, at the beginning of 2015, at the end, I got served eviction papers again. And I'm like, God, I'm crying out to God. I'm like, wow, I've cleaned up my life. Why can't I just catch a break? But I've learned in the past few weeks that it's all these trials. My faith is being tested. And the more I'm showing love to everybody and the more that I'm showing love to myself, I'm okay. Sometimes I don't even know how I eat right now, but it happens. And there's no other explanation than God. I can't tell you. It's crazy. And life is good today. I still don't have a steady paycheck. I'm still building my Beachbody business and stuff, but I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, ever. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Wow. Is that all?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my God. Wow, Amanda, I'm just blown away. And I think about that picture when you sent me the email where you said, hey, I want to share my story on the Share podcast. And you sent me your picture of your mugshot.
Yeah.
And, I showed my wife. I said, honey, check this out. She wants to share her story on the Share podcast. She goes, oh, wow. She's probably got one hell of a story. And yeah, you certainly do. There's so much in there. And I've interviewed over 50 people. I've lost count of how many people I've interviewed. And I'm on my 50th episode. My 50th episode just launched. And even though it's so reminiscent, most stories are very reminiscent, these horrific rock hard bottoms.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all special, different, and unique individuals. We all have this special story. And I can understand why so many people were telling you, you have a gift. Even the drug dealer was telling you, you have a gift because you have this energy and this intensity about you that is very similar to me, which is something that my uncle once said. Omar is either going to be this wildly successful person or he's just going to be a complete train wreck.
Right.
There is not going to be a happy medium for O. There just isn't going to be. And even back then, as confused as I was about who I was and where I was going, I believed that. I could get behind that. And there was a little voice inside of me that was like, I don't know how we're going to get there, but we're not going to be a disaster. Somewhere along the way, we're going to leave our mark on this world. And that's what you're doing. I absolutely believe it. And I can tell by the intensity that you have and how you promote Beachbody and the shape that you're in and the videos and the positivity. And you're such a huge, from the beginning, since you joined the Facebook group, have become such a huge positive influence and helping so many people in their own journey of recovery. It's just one of those things where you start to realize that what everybody was saying was absolutely true.
Right. Yeah. I'm starting to finally see it. Like, let me give you, this is just how my God is working with me. Okay. So I went back home for Christmas for the first time since I've been sober. I was so nervous about it and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how I was going to react because I didn't go through treatment this time. I did it all on my own. I did it with personal development and surrounding myself with good people and people that believed in me. So I was really scared to go back home. But after one day, my brain was like, go get some beer. But it was just a very second thought,
It's what we call a fleeting thought.
Yeah. So the moment that I left Mississippi and started coming back to Florida, it's like God was saying, okay, you passed that test. The floodgates just opened up with my Beachbody business, but the people that are rolling in, because it's a network marketing, Facebook is my business, and the people that are rolling into my life right now are in recovery, and they reach out to me and they're like, thank you so much for posting that video. You know, you're helping me. You just don't even know. This girl today, this gives me chill bumps because I don't know this girl. She's from my hometown, but I don't know her. She just got out of rehab, and she's like, I've seen some of your videos. I just want to let you know you're such an inspiration. This happened today. It's amazing. One of the guys that I met, have you ever heard of Todd White?
No.
Okay, well, I don't want to say he's a preacher. I don't really know his proper title because I'm just diving into all this stuff. But he has some amazing ministries on love. And this one guy in particular, he's also in recovery. And he turned me on to this guy. And I'm learning about love. And I'm learning that you got to love yourself to give love to others. And that's what I'm trying to do with all my videos and stuff. And the more I do that, the more people that are in recovery are reaching out to me just from all over the place. I'm like, this is so amazing. Sorry, I just got off on a little tangent there.
No, that's okay. You know, being passionate about recovery, being passionate about helping others, being passionate about God, being passionate about all these things that even before we started using, even before we got heavily involved in our addiction, there was that rebelliousness that we had since almost birth, where it was like, I am going to fight the system, and I'm not going to go to church, and I'm not going to go to school, and I'm not going to play by the rules, and I'm going to do things my way. And I don't know where that comes from, but it's something that I think is innate in almost all addicts. We have this feeling of entitlement that we're going to do things the way we want to do things, period. And then we go out and we wreck our lives. We just, it's like, he's not, but, you know, God is laughing. You know, it's like, look at this guy, right? Like he could have this amazing life, instead smoking crack or doing ice or snorting coke or whatever, and getting arrested and getting into fights and doing all these crazy things, right? And we think we're living. We think that this is it, man. I've reached, I'm doing what I want to do. You know, that was my whole thing. You know, I want my freedom. I want to do what I want to do.
Exactly.
And one day you wake up and you realize that you are one of Satan's disciples, and he has complete control over you, and there's nothing that you can do about it. That hopeless dilemma where the only thing you have left to do is to pray to God for help. And you know what? I have yet to meet somebody who has not, with their whole mind, body, and soul, gotten on their knees and prayed for help that didn't get it.
I know I haven't.
I haven't.
Yeah.
I have not talked to one person that said, well, I got down on my knees. I got nothing.
Exactly. Now, whether you choose to take the help or not, like, that's a different story. But, you know.
No, it's an incredible thing. And I distanced myself from God for so many years. And I was one of those guys that was just so lost, and I needed help so bad. And there I was in that same hopeless dilemma where, you know, I was willing to do anything, including dying, for the misery that I was living in to end. So I applaud you, young lady, because you know what? Your life is a complete polar opposite to what it was.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing. The message that I'm trying to get through my videos, through my posts, forget Beachbody, forget anything else. If I could live this life without any money, I would be one happy girl, because I just want everybody to see that there is a way across that bridge. It can be done. And I will extend my arm out to anybody and everybody. If I can help you, I will, because you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it, you know. And I say that a lot, and I truly mean it with everything in me. I'm like, bro, if y'all saw where I came from and who I was hanging out with and what I was doing, trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. So
It's true. It's absolutely true. And listen, your sober date is less than a year. Like, you've got less than a year of being completely clean and sober. And coming up is an episode, it's Buddy C. And his episode is coming up very soon here. By the time people hear your episode, Buddy's will already have gone by. So do yourself a favor. For those of you who are conflicted about what your role is in life and how God plays a role in it, Buddy's story is so powerful. His entire share is all about God. I don't come from a religious background. I come from, actually I do. But my life and my lifestyle, I come from a spirituality instead of coming from the Bible. But you and Buddy come from the Bible aspect of it. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful the way that he talks about how his life is today. And that as long as you're doing the next right thing, what you're doing right now, motivating people, putting all of your energy into doing something that you love, that you're passionate about, that not only helps you, helps yourself, eventually the promises will come true. The AA promises the fear of economic insecurity will leave us. It absolutely does. I'm confident of it. And I look forward to watching your life unfold on Facebook.
Because it will, because I learned the more transparent you are, the more you can help people. And it's in the Bible, like all this stuff's in the Bible, and it's just crazy. I don't know if you're about to ask me this question, but whenever I went to my friend's party down here, and the beach is like where I go for my peace of mind, and I go to just release everything out. And I prayed to God on the beach in the sand. I'm like, God, please show me a sign. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I posted it on Facebook. When I looked up in the clouds, I saw a muscle flexing, and I snapped a picture of it real quick. Like, it was insane. Okay, God, I got you. I hear you. All right, here we go.
I do.
So, yeah, I've seen it twice now, and it's been a while, and that's when my faith was a little shaky. But it's real. He's real. Like, I'm like, oh God, I've turned into one of those people. But I have, and I'm proud of it,
It's okay. It's okay. Be proud.
I am proud. I'm very proud.
Okay, good. Well, listen, let's go ahead and start closing up. You ready?
Ready.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to close up for the newcomer. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions about your early recovery that you're currently in. All right. And
Right.
And you're going to respond with inspiring and insightful answers you can share with our newcomers. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Perfect. So number 1, what was keeping you from getting clean or staying clean when you first got introduced to recovery?
Myself, I wasn't ready.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a nutshell, there it is.
Yeah. I mean, there is no other. I got it my own way. And that's it.
Yeah, I gotcha. So number 2, at what point did you have a spiritual awakening, that aha moment in recovery, when you accepted that you were powerless over drugs and alcohol, but for the first time had developed that hope that you could recover?
I think that was the moment that I prayed to God on the beach, and I just didn't know what else to do. And I just prayed to God, and I saw a flex muscle in the cloud, and I didn't know if I really wanted to become a part of this networking marketing thing, and I didn't know what I wanted. But when I prayed to God, I'm like, God, please show me a sign. And I looked up in the clouds, and there was a muscle flex, and plain as day. And that was my moment. I was like, okay.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. I love that story. And number 3, do you have a favorite book that you would recommend to our newcomers that you've read in early recovery?
Okay, so I'm just now getting into reading books. So I listen to Eric Thomas a lot. He's a hip-hop preacher, motivational speaker. Yes.
The cussing preacher.
I love E.T. He has been my rock. And I would say for me, not so much a book, because I'm making myself read, but I listen to his YouTube videos over and over and over, and I still do to this day. That man is my rock. He just motivates me in a way that nobody else can. So E.T. the hip-hop preacher, baby.
I read his book. Actually, I didn't read it because I don't read either. I have Audible, so I download all the books. His book, The Secret to Success, is just the most powerful, inspirational book. If on YouTube, you can probably find the entire book there in YouTube, the audio version. It's called The Secret to Success, and I know you will love it, and I will absolutely recommend it to all of our listeners. It was another game-changing book for me, and I can't remember how I stumbled across it, but I remember listening to it, and I was so impacted by his message. You can't help it. The man is he's intoxicating. When he talks, when he explains himself, and when he's in the middle of one of his motivational pitches, you're just like, amen, brother.
Exactly. Like, that man, he just hits me hardcore deep down in my soul, like, he's amazing.
He is a spectacular speaker. It's extremely motivational. So I love it. All right. So let's move on. Number 4, what is the best suggestion you have ever received?
To chase my dreams. I personally believe that a lot of my addiction was because I was so unhappy and I was trying to please everybody else, and I was listening to all the negativity and you can't do this and you can't do that, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah. And so when my old dealer, I guess you could say, sat there right in my face and told me to chase my dreams, man, I took that to heart and I ran with it. That's exactly why I'm not happy, because I'm not living my dream. I'm living my life for everybody else, and that's not cool with me anymore. So
No, I agree 100%. And here's the thing. There are so many people out there that are dream crushers. And the whole thing is that, and it's not any fault of anyone else except, we were all raised by parents that instilled these limiting beliefs in us. You're not tall enough. You're not smart enough. You're not strong enough. You couldn't do that. And, we start to believe it. Anytime someone tells us you can't do something, it's almost as powerful as somebody saying that you can.
exactly.
And so it's the same amount of energy. They say whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And the last thing that you want is somebody else, pissing on your dreams. These limiting beliefs that people instill in us, it's a horrific thing. You can do whatever it is that you want to do if you put your mind, your heart, your soul, and you follow your heart and you let God guide you. There's a saying, if God got you to it, he'll get you through it. And I'm a firm believer of that. That's a beautiful
I am too, but it took me so long to finally get to that point.
Well, that's why we're doing the podcast, because people need to hear this. People need to listen to the go and go, wow, I needed to hear that today.
Right.
So the final question then would be, if you could give our newcomers only one suggestion, what would that be?
Forgive yourself.
I love it.
Forgive yourself for everything that you've done. It's so hard to get wrapped up on the things that you've done. I mean, if I concentrated on all the things that I've done and all of the people that I've hurt, my life would be freaking miserable still. I chose to forgive myself because I'm worth it. And so are you. Like, forgive yourself, let go of the past. It's in the past. You cannot change it. So learn from it, use it. Your pain is a part of your greatness. I'm a firm believer, and flip it around to something positive.
Wow, that's beautiful. Tell us again, what is that, the slogan that you live your life by?
Make a stranger smile. I don't even remember how I came up with it, but I wake up each day. I tell my Beachbody team, I do it on the end of my motivational videos, make a stranger smile. Go out of your way. Even though sometimes it's so uncomfortable, it's so simple. It's simple, it's free, and it's super contagious. Go make strangers smile. I try to make a goal, like every day I try to make 10 or 15 smile, and I usually accomplish that because I'm pretty clumsy and silly out in public, But if you just go out of your way, it takes a second. Like I said, it's simple, it's free, and it's super contagious. And the feeling you get whenever you make somebody else smile, man, it just fills your heart with so much joy, because people don't expect it these days.
No.
And I think that if we all do that on a daily basis, before you know it, we'll have the whole world smiling.
I agree.
And that would just be the greatest thing ever.
That's right. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Wow, this has been amazing, Amanda. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. All right, so we're going to close up here. We have now reached the end of our show. Thanks for joining us. And as we say here in Costa Rica, pura vida.
Pura vida.
Thank you for joining us on the Share Recovery Podcast. To check out the show notes page on this interview or to thank our guests for sharing their story, go to www.thesharepodcast.com. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter to stay up to date on the latest news, podcasts, and interviews. Want to be one of our guests and share your story? Then go to our website and click on the Share Your Story button. We share our inspiring recovery stories every Tuesday, so subscribe to our show on iTunes or Stitcher Radio to get your free weekly download. We'll see you then. The opinions shared on this show reflect those of the individual speaker and not of any 12-step